Ybor resident and representative of Historic East Ybor and Gary Neighborhood Association.
David Family, resident, developer, and representing Historic Ybor Neighborhood Civic Association. I haven't screwed that one up.
Chris Boyovich, full-time resident of Historic.
Jack Smith, HCP, ref.
Social media gallery resident and member at large.
And first, Aaron, property manager, Cassie Ybor, member at large.
Marsha Austin, homeowner, resident, member at large.
Steve Barbas, Ybor City Museum Society.
Mark Renditi, operation manager for the Ybor City ST. Steve Navarro, operation supervisor for the Ybor City ST.
Andrea White, Community Connectivity LLC.
Lee Bell, Ybor Chamber.
Renee Lopez, Tampa Code Enforcement.
Nick Cox, Tampa Code Enforcement.
Dan College, Tampa PD.
Sherwood Melvin, third resident.
What's there? Some awesome high school. Donna Chavez, for awesome high school. Yeah, well, Robinson.
Welcome. And Brenda Brower, Ybor City Area Manager.
We have a couple online guests. Let's see. Fran is there, Olivia, Arnold, and Chris Julian.
Chris Lamb. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a couple note takers on there. Is anyone here wishing to make a public comment? Now's the time if anyone wants to address. Seeing none.
Wait.
On the go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please help yourself to the cupcake. Happy birthday to Brittany.
Is today your birthday?
Today's my birthday, and I'm here.
It's impressive.
Should we have brought you beer?
I should have brought beer.
Well, happy birthday.
Do it whenever.
Pass them around, eat them up.
We have our minutes from the February 25th meeting in our packet. Are there any comments or discussion or motion? Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Captain Collins, would you like to give us the update?
Sure, good afternoon. I'll cover a quick overview of, again, the historic district crime data so far this year compared to last year. And if you're willing, I could just cover a quick overview of the city crime rate and the changes and reductions that we've seen in this past year. So again, the area from Adamo to Ybor, 15th Street to 22nd, 24/7, so all during the hours of the day. Ag assaults were up one, we went from 4 to 5. Burglaries were up 2. That's what the 3. So again, I'm not happy those are compared to last year this time. Simple batteries were up a few, but I think that's because we're being very proactive at Ybor during Friday and Saturday nights and very close to a 0 tolerance for misbehavior. And vehicle thefts were at 0. We're down, it says 100%, but we went from 2 to 0. I'm happy with 0. During the entertainment hours, so 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. They're staying at no change for ag assaults. We're at 2 last year compared to this month. And we're equal to 0 burglaries, which I'm very happy when you consider the parking lots, the parking garages, parking on the street, we have no reported burglaries and no vehicle thefts and no robberies, no sex offenses. I'm happy with those numbers. So again, hard to get below 0, but we're still going to keep our foot on the gas. I also like to cover a quick overview of the city data. So for 2024, we probably enjoyed our best year in memory as far as crime reduction. We used 2019 as our benchmark because that was our lowest year that we had records, and we eclipsed that. So we had a great 2024. We saw 8.4% decline in violent crime. We saw 14.8% decline in total crime, and we saw a 17.7% decline in violent crime with a firearm. We saw a 27.5 decrease in auto burglaries, 29.3 decrease in auto theft, a 16.6 decrease in property crime, non-fatal shootings, so that's where someone gets shot and they don't die, a 27.1 decrease. Sometimes you have to explain that. I'm a little slow. So highlight for the auto burglaries, 79% of the total auto burglaries were unlocked vehicles, where 157 firearms were stolen. We saw a 10% decline in homicides, and we recovered 1,670 firearms. So our challenge is to eclipse that this year. Again, we're keeping our, we like saying we're paddling upstream, and if we stop paddling, we're just going to get back. So we're still paddling upstream, and we're going to try to do better than we did last year. And after that, questions? If not, I have some questions for these gentlemen over here in between cupcake bites.
Mr. Bailey?
Quick question, Captain. So the neighborhood is still seeing, and I appreciate what you're saying about like bad behavior on Friday nights and Saturday nights, but we're still experiencing it. And like an example would be a car pulls up at 1 o'clock in the morning, all the occupants get out of the car, there's a party and a twerk fest happening, they take over the person's porch and the furniture and just kind of like, spirals from there.
I saw that specific video that you're talking about.
So that's, and my question is, I think those are best spotted with an officer out of vehicle, outside of their car.
Mhm.
And I know, and we've seen in the neighborhood, the mounted bicycle officers. What's their coverage area, or do you happen to know, like, are they getting down 5th, 4th, and 3rd, or are they mainly towards 7th?
So obviously the focus is 7th Avenue, and then north and south of 7th, or 1 or 2 streets over, up the Palm, down to 5th. But again, that concentration, like, we deploy our personnel based on needs and density, because we know that something on 7th, if it goes bad quickly. Right. So we want the maximum number of officers to deal with that situation immediately without delay. We have roving patrols and we have a mounted unit, and I try to get bicycles in there as often as I can. They're just overly tasked with all these events that are going on throughout the city. So they're adjusting their schedule to be there. So I know that specific threat, I can tell you, I work Ybor 191. I let shift commander run it because I want flexibility to do other things. So I will get out on 4th and 5th and 2nd, and I'll get out, shut the car up and walk around because I want to hear the noise as well. And honestly, like, it's been good, but I know that complaint that you're talking about, to be there the moment they arrive, it's difficult, right? Because again, we're roving patrols, we're covering all the way up to the interstate down to Avenel. And then sometimes we'll try to initiate traffic stop and people will flee, and we're pulling our people out of Ybor to follow that car as the helicopter is giving us directions and turns. But I'm gonna be there this weekend, so it's on my plate to target those areas myself.
Follow-up question, like I know the sheriff's department has cadet training, I'm sure you guys have some level of cadet training. Do the cadets ever get out in the field and just kind of like, just walk the neighborhood, get a feel for it, or is that not done anymore?
So are you talking about police recruits or explorers?
Explorers would be sheriff or no?
Well, actually, the Explorer program is run by the Boy Scouts of America.
Oh, okay.
So there's guidelines that they can help with maybe events, just opening a door and things. We can't really put them out on patrol like that.
Right.
And if they are, they're, they gotta be certified, they gotta be over 18. There's a lot. So we don't use them for that. The police recruits that are in the police academy that we hire, and once they complete the academy and pass the state exam, they become police officers. But there are times that we will use them, for crosswalks and stuff like that, but for regular patrols, because they're going to school Monday through Friday, and then they have their weekends to prepare for the following week. So we don't tap into that, because what that really does is puts more responsibility on a police officer, because they have to shadow that person. But we on busier nights, we solicit from outside our agency. Florida Highway Patrol and the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office have been tremendous with their assistance. Sheriff Brunster today, again, we're at a luncheon and brought that up, and they're always willing to help. He said, not every weekend, because they have their challenges too, but we gauge events with deployments and personnel and staffing. You know, we know that you have the NCAA Women's Final Four coming up, and that's going to be a heavy lift downtown, but we're still prepared to cover Ybor with adequate staffing. We're not going to pull from Ybor to staff that. We're just going to bring in additional people. So we're trying, you know, we have in Ybor itself, I would challenge probably any police agency in the state to equal the number of officers we have in that footprint by number. In Orlando, their footprint is a little bit bigger, and they have about the same number of officers that we have there in Ybor. So I think, and I've asked this, I brought this up, and we can, I'm sure, verify, like, I've always asked the balance, is it too much or too little? Like, because I know too much may drive people away. If they're not familiar with Ybor and they see cops everywhere, maybe if I'm visiting another city, I might back away saying, something's going on here. So we try to have that balance where we have adequate coverage, we can respond quickly to events. The officers, when I work, I know I'm a captain, so they have to be nice to me sometimes, but I'll be on my back. And, you know, but they're smiling, they're enjoying it. I find that the officers that are signing up for work, because it's not always their normal shift, are the same officers. A lot of them are senior officers. And they've been instrumental in recruiting additional officers for work, because it's not an easy sell to tell somebody to work from 10 at night to 4 in the morning on a day off, both on a Friday and Saturday, and then go back to work Monday. But they've actively, informally recruited others because they say it's not bad. It's not like it used to be. There's no crime. You know, you might have to break up at the sorority. There might be a fight or something, but it doesn't happen as often as it used to. So we're trying. We're not perfect. I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I do know exactly what you're talking about. I responded to that person, and I'll be there checking this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Captain?
Yes, please.
Is it illegal to have automatic sprinklers on your balcony when situations occur? Would that be considered an assault? Or, oops, I was ordering my.
You know, if your plans are
Right. I saw that video.
Yeah.
And I was just plotting out how I would handle it as before I turned the sprinkler on.
So I probably have about 2 years left in my career. I cannot wait to get my freedom of speech back. And then I'll answer that question.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Anybody else? The gentleman from Austin High School. I'm just curious, is this something that you had to do for class or something, or? No, just curious?
Curious.
Oh.
I'll be Mayor's Youth Corps.
Okay.
And member of the East Tampa CRA.
Okay.
Told us that the CAC being the most like effective way, like getting things done, money, Tampa, as opposed to just like city council meetings. So I figured out sitting on one like that. So.
You were giving great advice. Because I could tell you, working with Brenda Brower as a CRA manager, when she used to be in our district, and then she.
That's still here.
Well, the office is here.
But it was just so great. I could just leave my office, walk to another part of the building, and just call. And it is, yes, I think the smaller groups dealing with a defined area have more impact than, because city council has a whole city to pick it. And there's a lot of moving parts to that, but I think these are more efficient and the results are quick.
Thanks for coming.
You guys got cupcakes, right? It always happens every time you come to a meeting. Okay, Kevin College, I don't see Officer House here. Do we have a homeless update, or I know you had a new person coming?
Yeah, so that's a work through for us. We reorganized recently where the homeless liaisons are now not assigned in our district. They're assigned at police headquarters, and they fall under a different command. So they're being pulled in more directions. We were kind of lucky to have them based in our district, because even though they're technically assigned citywide, we kind of just kept a short leash on them because this is where the majority of the issues they were dealing with. But now they're dealing with more and more problems. So we're finding ways to be more effective with that change. So they have more of a higher view now, instead of being at the 5,000 foot level, probably at 10 or 15,000 foot. We're trying to reestablish, and we have some really outstanding young officers that are, you've all heard about the liaison officer program. We actually knew ones that came over this year, and they're already initiated some projects and initiatives to deal with some of the issues that we face downtown and even here on the 21st and 22nd Street corridor between Adamo and the interstate. So it's a learning process for them. They're younger officers. They probably never had the freedom to do this before, but they're enthusiastic. It's not me directing them to do it. It's come up with a project. Tell me what resources you need. Let me help you get what you need. And let's measure the results and see if it's effective or if we can make changes. So we're in that transition phase, but we're not out of it.
Any questions on homeless? Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, Captain. Appreciate your input. Move on to code enforcement. Mr. Lopez.
Yes. From February 25th to today, there's been approximately 102 interactions. 35 those are the initial inspections, not including remedial cases, which when we open those cases, it doesn't fall under the CMP category. So there have been 42 of those. Out of those 42 interactions, approximately 12 vehicles have been impounded within the district of that car. Those are inoperative vehicles on the highway. In 2 of those CMP initial infraction further found not to be in violation. From 102, 20 of those, 24 of those cases passed their reinspection, and 62 failed, resulting in further, either they're going to civil citation was issued or they're going to be brought to the full court hearing process. I was also asked to address an issue that we've been experiencing as of late with the A-frame signs. I would ask not to impound any yet, but we're at that point where we have to start impounding signs. There are certain establishments that we go to constantly, we move theirs up against the structure, and the next day they're back on. So we're gonna go to those that continuously are doing this. They will be instructed, or informed that the next time we come across it, if the sign is missing, they can contact us and maybe we have it. The other thing is, I spoke to some of the establishments, and some of them now have 2 and 3 A-frame signs. Normally, if you were to go through the permitting process, you would be allowed 1 permitted sign, not a 2 or 3. It just did not happen. So we are also going to go into those establishments and inform them that it's 1 permitted A-frame. So there is no code for A-frame sign because no one doesn't have one within the system. So that is something we are going to inform all those establishments that have those multiple signs. Also, within those, some of them are setting up or they're allowing vendors to set up right on there, but 7-Eleven every Friday. And there are some other ones sporadically that they're saying that they set up a small table. They're not there during the evening, but usually from about 3 to starts to get dark, the vendors are out there. So that's something we're going to start addressing. And that's basically it. We have to start doing something because as it starts to grow, some of these establishments are saying they call historic and they say they could have framed a sign up there, but they never told, according to them, where they need to be placed. And some of them have said, I've been doing this for the longest time, you're the only one that's pushing them back, whether it's BS or not. It's only but so long till it has to go to the next level. But, you know,
I see in your packet, you have one of these with someone setting up a table like that, like a vendor, but, so people are setting up little tables right on 7th.
Yeah, mostly on
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Does that also apply for, I think in the past, we've seen examples of people set up like trucks or trailers in parking lots? Kind of same thing?
Yeah, that's, there's like the mobile tattoo and some of the other ones. Those would be, they would need a vendor's license as well. It would be the same exact situation as this. Whether on private property or not, they would, but that would be enforced. This is more so people in the right of way and walking. I know some of those vehicles you're talking about, but they'll set up like in Carmine's lot and some of the other lots. And if from what I understand, we haven't seen it for quite a while. I think it's probably been a year since the tattoo shop was last there and the smoke shop. But if we do see them coming back, I mean, everybody that works is instructed to go to handle that. And every roll call, we share notes with TBD if that happens to, give us a call, we'll handle it.
Any questions for code enforcement? Okay, thank you for the information. Rendini.
Good afternoon. So this month, for the month of February, we had 2 events. We had the night parade, and then we have Fiesta Day. So night parade was great, no major issues, a lot of opportunities for engagement, went very smoothly for us. And Fiesta Day, we got out a little bit earlier than our normal clean team deployment were. We got out about an hour and a half earlier, just so we can get 7 clean a little bit quicker and make sure that everything was ready for event day. And statistically, our numbers were very good. No issues that we saw for our clean team. Infrastructure clean were up by 60.5%, which is great. And I also give credit also to our safety team as well. They're helping to keep 7th Avenue and everything clean. And our trash bag collection is up by 47%. So we're just trying to get more and more trash off of 7th, off of different areas, a lot of leaves, so that it's not only regular trash debris, it's also leaf pickup. So that's all accumulated. We call it trash and debris. So a lot of leaves this month just falling off of the trees. And we're still battling that, by the way. On our safety side, our homeless count was up by 57%, but we still see the decreasing of issues relating from it. So there's a visual component, but as far as when we're communicating with them, we're having issues, that's down by 86.5%. So we make sure that we establish what the rules are when we're engaging with everybody, as long as they're following the rules, just like everybody else. Their state of residence is not our business, so to say. And our hospitalities, although they were decreased, because this is a comparison from last year. So we go from year to year comparing the same months. It was a decrease of 26.5%, but we have less staff now. So our numbers, not because we were just overly staffed at that time. So our numbers were still, we had 1,321 engagements, down from 1,794. So it wasn't like, the statistics are there, but we still have plenty of engagements with our staff. And very happy with these numbers, even with our decreased staff. Any questions?
I have one quick question. Mark, regarding the Centro parking garage, the men's room for a while has been kind of like the lounge, so to speak, for probably 4 or 5 guys. Any update there on, and I would have asked this to TPD, but since you're here and they're not.
Yes, so some of you may not know, we service those restrooms in a cleaning capacity. That cleaning individual, our clean team does go over there and service it during the day, but that's not the activity that's being discussed at this time. It's more during the later hours.
We have a safety staff member, which means that he is a licensed security officer that services them during those timeframes. There was a bit of a kind of a conversation because there is armed security there in the parking garage. Our responsibility, from what I've always understood since I've been here with the program, was that if we have an issue, we are to go, our staff members are to go to their security staff member for the parking garage, and they are to come in and address those concerns. They're seeing maybe with staffing that they had rotating in and out, maybe there was some confusion there. I reached out to Brenda just to make sure that nothing changed, because if something did, I don't want to, try to ask somebody to do something that's not their responsibility. And we're trying to get some clarification there, through Brenda. She might be able to clarify a little bit more. But we have multiple conversations with law enforcement, both their day shift staff that we engage with on a regular basis and our nighttime staff. And we've let them know about what you're talking about, because we do see it as an issue. It's a concern for us. And when we have our staff members going there trying to service the area, and there's people trying to be like, oh, well, you can't come in here. It's like, it's news to me, because that's what we got to do. So, and if we do see any, we're not law enforcement. We're not here to enforce the law. But at any time, we're here to observe and report. So it doesn't matter if it's the restrooms there or someplace on 7th or 8th or any place within our downtown footprint here. We will go ahead and contact law enforcement, and that bathroom is no different.
I'm just curious, you guys have a great communication with the police, obviously, all the shift commanders and the officers, and who get hold of. Do we not have some kind of communication channel with the security for the parking garages of the city and the parking lots of the city?
We do. We have a good relationship with them. Again, I think that there might have just been some confusion.
They weren't sure that was their.
What's their responsibility? And listen, working in the state of Florida, my whole career has been in security management. I've been doing it for 26 years now. I'm that old. And, sometimes if you have if staffing goes and staffing comes, there can be a confusion there. I get it. But how do we clarify? We make sure that we speak to the client, because we both share the same client. And we say, hey, just wanted to get clarification, or maybe, we don't know, we're not sure, we're not positive.
So it's not a communication issue, you're able to communicate with them, they're not sure what the responsibility is.
Correct. So, and it's not for us, I don't want to step in and be like, hey, we're here to teach you something. It's like, no, we'll have the conversation and we'll go through the appropriate channels. We just want to have a good working relationship with all parties involved. That's the way that Block by Block likes to handle things. We like to work with our business owners, the residents who live here, the board members, any concerned citizen in the area, our visitors. So a hired, security firm would be the same way. We want to have the best relationship with them that we can, because it's an extra person that we can reach out to. So why not utilize that? So definitely we have a great, I would consider it a great relationship between TPD and with our surrounding security forces.
Also, that security company told me that they didn't know, they weren't sure. But they said if that was the case, they would actually be happy. So they wanted to have that.
Sure. So just need clarification on.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Thanks.
I was just going to ask Brenda if there was any clarity on that scope based upon the.
No, the scope is that the building is a City of Tampa building. It's a parking garage, and they have a security company that roams and secures the garage. There was a point years ago that we used to help pay for that security so that they would be stationed at the bathroom. But the reality was they weren't stationed at the bathroom. So we're like, why are we paying for this if they're part of this roaming? So that's what it came down. So I've already talked to parking. They're clear on it. They now have a number. So tell if they're in the bathroom, they encounter a situation. Steven said he's going to test that number and tell me if that number doesn't work.
It's going to be our test.
But if they're not around and you don't visibly see them, and I see them all the time. They're all, by the way, it's a citywide contract. They're downtown in the Fort Brook. They're all over the place. In Centurion, I believe the company is. So, if they're not available, you can't get service or, let me know. But they want the same. They want to work together. And I think that was it. They were just unclear about their role of maybe walking out and watching that bathroom as well as the garage. So.
Not to mention, there's I counted Saturday night, there was 22 police officers at the corner of 16th and 7th. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
One way or the
Yeah, and if it's
They gotta go to the
ever,
bathroom somewhere.
right, and if it's ever a threatening situation, you know to call TPD.
Yeah, we're-
You, so that absolutely, but just so y'all know, Ybor is the only garages that have bathrooms. There are no other bathrooms. Fort Brooke does not have bathrooms. No other city of Tampa garage has bathrooms. We specifically put bathrooms in that garage to be a public, customer-friendly service for the district. So
And they're
kind of a unique animal.
You're happy, you'd be happy that you have them.
And
And other downtowns, they don't. And for us to direct, but we get that question constantly. And we don't want to send people to your businesses or anything like that because that's not what they're there for. They're not public restrooms. So it's always good that we have places to send people to the facilities.
thank you.
And I just want to compliment you guys as always doing a fine job. And I think I like the new format of the report, and I think it's always model of efficiency of how you guys work to pull people from one area, put them in another as needed. I think you're always working on the fly. So, props to you for your hard work and coordination of that.
Appreciate it. It's our pleasure.
All right, and looks like I'm up. We have a new CAC member. Has everyone met Jack? Jack's got speech. Need an intro. We don't know enough about you. But officially welcome. I know it's been a process. We're happy obviously with your relationship with HCP and all they contribute to the board and your input. So we value that. Really happy to hear your us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I love living in Ybor. I know it's only been a few months, but wasn't under the best circumstances moving here, but it's been a great transition. I'm just excited to get more involved in the community, so.
Great.
Good work for tree.
Future.
Yeah.
Future Ybor resident right here.
All right.
1 month, I'll be living right on 7.
Jack will tell you all about it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not as much.
Yourself.
Is that number again?
Exactly.
So a quick little YCDC update. Pavers are moving along. The paver program's moving fine. I think we had a few little delays when Joyce was on a vacation, but I think that's kind of picked up and everything's moving ahead with that well. We're doing our annual filings, keeping current with that. And I think the big thing is the planning session, keeping an active list. Michael and I talked a couple times about, what the agenda is and what the purpose is, and we'll get some kind of visioning session in order. So that's been kicked down the road a little bit. So I apologize for that, but it's still an active discussion of what YCDC evolves into. In your packet, there's also the project teams report. Okay, so that's this one. I noticed one thing that Brittany's probably going to point us
let's
out.
talk about stormwater. So because we already finished the project, that's why it wasn't on this report. However, there's some communication that we've had with our stormwater department. We've reached out to their lead engineer, and they have not forgotten about this stormwater project. And they, anytime you talk to a department and say, I'm willing to help fund something, you get some attention. So they are working with Stantec right now to identify CIP projects for the future and trying to prioritize those within the CRA. So I don't have exact dates for you, but I wanted you to know that it's on the radar. And it'll probably just stay under my report right now until it becomes something fundable or something we, actually start engaging in. So I've added it to my list every month for you to keep looking at that.
I wanted to question also item number 5, which is a special projects funding request for Hart bus stops.
Yes.
And doesn't that go away with our funding of
So, yes, actually, it's been deferred. So what's happened with that is y'all remember, and I guess I can give that report right now. First of all, the streetcar funding did get approved. Okay, it went through all the CACs. Y'all were the first one. So it did get approved. It will remain free to this fiscal year. But with that, there was a trade-off. And what they offered was that we will not come forward and ask for the bus stops this year because you're putting money towards the streetcar, but they still want to do the bus stops. So it'll be a request for next year. So, or future year. So yeah, the money would come out. What that's telling you is how much they're going to cost. Okay, how they actually are approved. They will have to come back through a special request process And during that process, they come back to the CAC. So you'll hear about what those things are, because you want to know what they're going to look like, where they're going, a little more information on what those going to be.
I have a question too. Sure. On the streets signage, just the FYI,
Yes.
and I'm not sure if we've seen this with other places, but at the corner of 6th Avenue and 20th Street, the 6th Avenue sign is one of the new ones. And it has banana peel. Two pieces of brown have pulled away from the actual center sign. And it looks like all the rivets that had secured it are now missing.
It's a new one.
It's a new one.
Mhm.
And so my question is, did somebody mess with that and make it a banana peel on purpose? Or is this the start of a problem that is going to be an expensive
I
one?
don't know the answer to the second part of that question, but the first part of that question, again, if you see something like this and you're able to take a picture of it and send it into Tampa Connect so we can get it logged and fixed.
Okay.
But on this situation, because the contractor actually completed their work, so I will tell Nick about this particular one. And Chris, you said it was on the corner of 6th and
6th Avenue and 20th Street on the
20th,
6th
okay.
Avenue sign. The 20th Street's part of the sign is fine.
But I do hope that that is not the beginning of a larger problem. I will tell y'all that the mobility department understands that maintenance of the signs is going to be their responsibility moving forward. Therefore, the sign, the actual insert of the sign, they can now make in-house, which is fantastic. Years ago, they used to be able to make it in-house. Then they kind of got away from it. But so they are working on automating things so that they know that they're going to be able to take these signage, to do the decorative sign inside. However, the frame part of it is a Barrio Latino Commission requirement. So that's another issue, so that, you have to have the parts to fix it. But they shared with us they have a new printer that they can print these inserts in, which is really great. But I'll report that with them. Thank you.
What's the timeline for the CRP update?
Soon. There was a they're working on getting it through contract admin to procure is a pick tree process that they go through. So we should be here something soon. I think next month he's going to come. Bryce is going to come.
Okay.
Tell you a little bit more about that. But that's in process.
Okay, grants. Grant report is in our packet.
Yeah, sorry about how small it is. It's the system that they bring it out. That's why I send it to you electronically. But, again, these are the commercial grants they have that are in either their lead or they're an application that's working their way through the process. And these are for the standard grants. So anything that would be interior, an interior grant, an exterior grant, or even a special project. I think these are exterior and interiors.
Yeah, it looks like there's a few more from last month, so that means.
Yeah, it's starting.
People are.
Well, we raised the level. Remember, we used to be like 25,000. So we went back and said, no, it's got to be at least 75,000 in Ybor 1 and Ybor 2 is 50. So got those matches up at a higher level, which made it more attractive for folks to apply.
And plus your
for.
presence up yesterday in the booth, selling the grants and everything.
Yeah, that really outreach helps. Absolutely.
And then we have residential grants on the second page.
So on housing, honestly, I was giving y'all a report every month, and you know what the report was saying? 0. Okay, so instead of printing the report again, I'm sending you the flyers. We need to really work on getting the flyers out to the community. And I think I sent every one of y'all them electronically. So if you need to send them to your groups, feel free to share them. But we do have money in housing rehabilitation and renovation. They call it the HRRP program and down payment assistance. And some of the other communities, West Tampa, East Tampa, they're taking advantage of this. So these are available. And so to spread the word, and hopefully we'll get some numbers for a report soon.
They raised the AMI again. I thought it was 120. So now it's 140%.
For CRA. For CRA, yes, we can go to 140.
Wow.
So if you do the math, you think that maybe you're not eligible for this, but maybe you are. So it's, if you have any questions about this, our housing group, CRA group, moved to the East Tampa office. They're literally right up the street. And there's free parking right there. So you can go see them. If you can't go see them, tell you know an elderly person in your neighborhood, they will go to that person. All they do is make a phone call. So they're trying to get out there and be as customer friendly as possible and get these programs in the hands of the people that need them. Okay. Yeah. So is it my report now? I think I've already gotten through it.
Yeah.
I've gotten through it. So y'all know about the streetcar. It's free. They will be coming back to us this summer when we start working on the FY26 budget, hopefully maybe sooner. Their CAC training. Okay, we have that in this room on March 10th. Each of you, I gave you a copy of the PowerPoint presentation so you can insert it into your binder. So a lot of y'all have your binders. If you don't have your binder, I never got a binder, come see me. Jack just got his new binder tonight because he's official. So he can add his, updated information in. But it really, I also sent it to you all online because I wanted you to listen to Cliff Shepard, our CRA attorney. And he really gave a presentation about the Sunshine Law. So he's, he actually took up the majority of the meeting talking about what you can and cannot do when it comes to being a CAC member. So I thought that was very informative. Also in the packet here, you'll get to see the teams, the people, the faces to the teams, the projects team, the grants team, the housing team, the manager team, all of that. You probably met a lot of these folks, but the structure of our department is clear in here. And then as well as, there's just information that y'all already know because you're like my CRA that kind of CAC that knows everything, but you know how to conduct meetings. You've got a fantastic chair. It just runs smooth here, our process. We know how to prove things and so forth. So the role of a CAC member, I don't think it's really questioned. If there is ever a question, I usually get someone calling me about it. But so anyway, it's just some information. And we had a really good turnout for that. We will be doing that once a year. And now that I have it taped, if you're coming on mid-year, you can listen to the tape. Makes it easy. So that's about CAC orientation. The biggest news right now is that CRAs are under attack by the legislature. There's House Bill 991 and 1245. They're short bills. They're in your packet. They're 2 pages. We are tracking this as, obviously being very involved with the Florida Redevelopment Association. Kind of glad this wasn't under my presidency, but it's Renee, our new president. I'm still part of the executive board. But if y'all, just to summarize what this means for us, I think that's what's important. Both bills are really calling for the end of CRAs. And they're making their way through the Senate and the House. There's 2 bills. I think one has already gone through the House, and it's still making its way through the Senate. They're running fast, which is always a really good sign. But basically, they prohibit the creation of new CRAs, which we don't really have an issue. And that would be no new CRAs by July 1 of this year, this fiscal year. They also call for the sunsetting of CRAs. So if you are in existence by a certain date, which we are, you can keep your CRA up until your expiration date, but no longer than September 30th of 2045. All of our CRAs in Tampa expire on 2043 is the latest one. That would be downtown, I believe, in Tampa Heights. We are 2034, and you already know that. We're a lot shorter. Most of the CRAs are 2034. So we can live with that. We're within that period of time. It also calls for no new bonding past expiration. So you cannot bond something past your expiration or sunset date, or at the latest 2045, September 30th. It also eliminates the ability for counties and municipalities to approve the continued existence of CRAs. So you just can't have your county keep you going. You have to end on that date. But the biggest thing of all, the biggest thing, and this is what we're all trying to get our head around, it prohibits CRAs from initiating new projects or issuing new debt past October 1 of this year. Yeah. So we are trying to understand what all this means. So next, May 2nd, I guess, is when the legislature is up. Everything will be known. There are some advocates that are trying to get that. That's really the one thing that most CRAs are having their trouble with. Like, what does this mean? No new projects means we just stop?
Yeah.
Does it mean that everything on this lovely list that we already have? Okay.
Well, that's the challenge, right? Because that tax money can't just go back to the general fund by law, right? So there's no, money will sit here in this pot until it gets used. And if we can't initiate projects, how can it be spent? So my question is, are they gonna define projects or are they gonna limit that term? Because it's not defined.
Exactly. And that's what everyone's struggling with. So as y'all know, we do a wonderful job of identifying projects every year. And we have a lot of them that are going to be ongoing. 7th Avenue Streetscape, Centennial Park, they're in the budget. As far as I'm concerned, they're in the budget and we can fund them. We can do a cash flow out. We can do that. But at the end of the year, when we don't spend money, we have this, in Ybor, we have something called district improvement. So we put everything into that fund. If you do not encumber your money by state statute, you have to give it back to the taxing authorities. So if we didn't do that one action or, where we put all of our, any remaining money or things that we want to maybe utilize throughout the year, then it would go back to the county and it would go back to the city. So that is what we're talking about, because what is district? Does that mean that category goes away and that maybe, and a lot of CRAs are talking about this, start and identify everything they want to do for the next 8 years and put some money, even if it's $1 there. And it stays on the books. So I don't know. These are for the lawyers and the legislature to figure out what new projects are, but so what I'm telling y'all is next month, we're going to start on the budget.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to be more proactive. Tampa's always more. And really start to identify everything and we should be doing that anyway. We've got 8 more years. Let's figure out what do we want to get done and where do we want to put all of our things. So, wow. I know. So.
Well, stormwater, Centennial Park.
Do we have any properties identified? We keep saying.
No, but please tell me affordable housing. And so the folks that are going up to Tallahassee trying to advocate for this to go away is like, oh, we're doing all this affordable housing, we're doing this. Because Tampa, we have taken 30% of our money, which is very proactive, put it into affordable housing. So strategic acquisitions that could be a priority, but there's no land available. We have our real estate department out there looking. Doesn't necessarily have to be land. It could be a development project that is bringing that 80%, the affordable housing units to the table. That would be attractive that we could use that money for. Again, no one's applying for the housing grants. So when people don't apply for things, they're like, why do you have it? Why do you need it? Anyway. So I don't want y'all to walk out of here being gloomy, but this is the reality of what we're at right now. And I don't know where it's going to land, but next month we're going to start on the budget. So be prepared. We may need some more cupcakes, Lee Bell. More sugar, but we're going to work for the budget. And
Think up your wishes.
yeah. Well, remember, it has to be in the plan, okay? And it has to be, then we can put it in the budget. And that's how we've always defined a project. In the plan, in the budget, and consistent with the statute. So.
But next month we can start the plan, right?
Next time, no, we're starting on the plan.
That's why I was kind of asking, when should we start that process?
I know.
And
Well, we
An
may,
update to the plan.
that's another, right. So it may be more of a cleanup of our original plan, looking at some of the projects that we want to get done, but we do need to have this conversation about what, and the plan's broad. I think anything that y'all really want to do is in the plan. There's a nexus to it. So that's all I have.
They can fast track the update?
Pardon me?
Is there no way that they can fast track that update?
What update?
The update to the plan?
Yeah, possibly. We may be doing that next month too.
Once we get a consultant on board,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
if you get a consultant on board to turn around, really, we can actually almost do it in-house. I mean, it's possible.
Maybe
It's
we
not
consider a
possible.
plan amendment versus a new plan.
Yeah.
Like.
That's what we've been
some
doing.
Small amendments that we want to make near term.
That's a good point. So that is all I have on on the legislative update.
Yeah, no, then you brought up the affordable housing and there was a project that came through Barrio couple of months ago, and you may have seen a newspaper article on that. They're using the East Tampa CRA money to fund it, even though it's in a part of Latino jurisdiction, that 20-unit project on Nebraska and I forget the cross street, so.
Right across from El Rio.
Where the old gas station was, yeah. So, so there is one thing within the CRA area that's happening for affordable housing, and as we know, that's an issue in our CRA.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to have that happen, but it's one of the projects that's actually getting funded and moving along, so that's good news, and somebody's figuring out how to do it, so hopefully that'll get some more traction for everything else.
Absolutely.
There are blocks, there are like infill blocks in East Ybor that, I know they're not for sale, but if we knew who owned them and made an offer, might be some interest. Does the East Ybor folks in the association know of some, maybe have asked them at the next meeting to suggest some properties that would investigate a little closer?
Right now, so.
I just feel like that's where it's likely
But I
to
thought
have
that's
some.
what the city was going to do. I thought they were
They
gonna
can,
do the
but if
research
you know
on that.
something that's, because we have to have a willing owner, I mean, a willing,
Yeah.
That's, I mean, like, do we have a
So-
community connection to somebody who might be
We
willing
do
to
have a
sell
few.
for a good reason like that?
And if you do, don't call each other, just call me, let me know, and I'll tell real estate, hey, go check out this, this ownership or these properties. I'm happy to. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. And next CRA board meeting is April 10th. We're almost in April now. It's
Yes,
crazy.
we're almost April, yeah.
And CAC meeting, Thursday, April 22nd, May meeting date.
Yeah, so, I have a request. My son is graduating from high school on the May meeting, I'm sorry. And I was wondering if we could change the date, or I would give y'all an email update.
So May,
That's on the 27th.
It's the 27th, it's, May 27th, and it just,
You want to try to do it the week before, or
well,
we'll give you.
the week before I can't because I've got West Tampa, but I could
Okay.
do it the week after if y'all wanted to. I'm almost thinking with the budget, and I gotta talk to Lynn about the room and everything, but right now, I mean,
I'd be good with an update. I won't be here that following week.
well, this is the thing, this is the day after Memorial Day, and a lot of people, I don't know if I'll have a quorum, that was my other question to y'all, because this is our struggle holiday next to the, the Memorial Day, but if y'all, if we don't have a quorum, then we're gonna switch it anyway, but if you're not gonna be here, I could do a poll, well, why don't we switch it anyway, if y'all agree?
I mean, is that something you want to do earlier in the day, or you just can't you have to be out by a certain time?
I don't think anyone's gonna be earlier in the day if you're not gonna be able to be here at all, right? Yeah, you're on vacation.
how about, like, if we did like June 10th, which is 2 weeks later, to avoid vacations, I'd make that motion. How about
Okay.
the folks here, anybody have an issue with June 10th?
I can't do it.
I can't do
You
it.
can't still, okay, well, it doesn't really solve the problem if we've got folks out, so.
So, I always get the reports every month, and I
Yeah,
definitely will
what I
give
want
y'all
is the
all
budget.
information.
If we have to, maybe at the April meeting, guys, if we need to, can we have like a budget meeting, like schedule just a budget workshop or something like that, that's publicly noticed? And we just make that motion in the April meeting, depending on what we decide.
We can, and I was thinking of boarding off time for the April meeting for the budget.
Yeah. Why don't we do that if we need to, if everybody's okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, and we can play it by ear.
Could you eliminate all of the city reports for that meeting as well? So we
Absolutely.
basically just did.
If you want, I could give you the reports, because they always give them to me, and why don't we just say for that, they would probably appreciate that.
Budget.
We don't physically have to be here, but we can catch up with you, well, we'll catch up probably not until June,
Let's do that.
And a lot of COCs do like quarterly updates. They don't do them every month. We're very unusual that we do them every month. It's what y'all want, Okay, that's a good idea. Is that what the direction is?
Yeah.
Okay,
So then remove the community policing updates in person
okay.
for
For
April.
April.
And then May is a cancel or a email?
I'll give you an email update, and then probably we're canceling at this point, unless we have to call a special call meeting. Is that okay? Do I need a motion?
Well,
for
and you
that?
can sort of decide in April, and you can make a lot of progress in the April meeting.
That's what
and
I'm
I think,
it's okay.
let's try to make progress in April, cancel those special reports, and then if, we'll make a motion at that point.
Sounds perfect.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Is this the last one graduating?
Yes, this is my baby. 17,
Was he gonna go to school? Did you know it?
Florida, Florida State.
Florida's
Got into
Go
both,
Gators.
so, yeah.
We got them both.
I know, I'm gonna,
Yes, make a decision.
he's gonna,
Gators.
he's lucky, he's in a good position.
That's a good thing.
So, yeah, it's, everyone has an opinion. But thank y'all. I appreciate that. You know, it's funny because, we moved into the building on 7th Avenue when I was pregnant with him. That was 17 years ago. We're moving from the German American Club to that building. So we occupied that building for almost, 16 years.
Now it's a perfume shop.
And now it's a perfume shop.
Gross.
Which I haven't been into.
Hey, it's better than other things.
Yeah, it really is.
Any other announcements, any information that people want to share? Upcoming events?
We're not gonna sing happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Walk is here.
Take pride this Saturday.
I know.
There's gonna be a lot of people coming into the district. This environment. Units is young. So it's gonna be a lot of great movement. Ybor District Coalition is doing a lot of events, so we'll be starting on Wednesday, so we'll be doing a lot of pop-up events, just drawing up some more business and more people to visit the district. So
Well, can you tell us about some of those?
Wednesday, we're gonna do a happy hour at JD Coasters Wine Bar from 5 to 7, 25% off the tab if you mention Ybor District. Thursday, we're gonna do a happy hour at Candle Room, starting at 6 p.m. Friday, the normal local bars that we're doing, did one, I apologize. Here. Oh, there it's going on, so. Thursday we'll do a happy hour at Candle Room. At 7 p.m. there's a drag queen dueling pianos at Ybor. Friday, proof of concept pride kickoff party at the Bricks. Saturday, of course, is the parade, but Ybor is doing a drag brunch around 1 o'clock, and the parade starts around 3. And then Sunday at 2 p.m. Is also after pride brunch at Ybor.
And just so y'all know, it's Cuban Sandwich Festival weekend too on Sunday. So it's a very busy weekend. And
Really busy. Yeah, great. So hopefully everybody come enjoy and really publicity, and we're excited. We're excited for the turnout. And our business owners, please, if you have any pride flags or anything, this is a good sign for the community itself to see that they are welcomed in our district, as always been.
I have mine flying at my house.
Mhm. And I'd be remiss to not mention the police are having their coffee on Friday morning. They came last month, Crystal Shiver. So it's at the District 3 office, and it's called Pride with Cops or something, Coffee with a Cop or something like that. So there's another. Thank you.
All right, who's gonna start singing?
Happy
birthday
to
you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Brittany. Happy birthday to you.
Hey, but you gotta make a wish. All right, here we go.
Uh-oh.
All right, here we go.
Make a wish.
Wait for a brewery?
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Everyone have a great month. You all adjourned. I do.
I got one of these for West Hampton, the meeting. Wonderful, they got for Ybor forever. I let them borrow that Ybor one. And they got, for Joe Robbins, they got this little sign, it's like, where do you have to work? So I learned that one.
Instead of rushing.
Anyway, Patty.
Yeah.
All right.
So he's been accepted to vote?
Yeah.
Oh, because last we spoke, he was still waiting to hear from Florida.
Yeah, so he got heard from Florida.
And you told me you got a great offer for Florida too, right?
Yeah, no, I can't give it anything. Which may be good. Right now.
Thank you.
I know it's policy, you're fine. So if you want to take a name,
they've made money because of all the money that they're destroying at them and stuff. It is wonderful. It's pretty, it is great.
Yeah, it's your good luck.
No, oh, yeah.
Well, it doesn't happen. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
It's fine, it's a great school. My gosh,
That was a lot of fun.
so. Because I know it's a
Of course, absolutely. Keep walking.
Wow, that's exciting.
Anyway, thank you, Steve. Yeah, I'm excited.
Figure out what's the latest. Yeah.
You don't really want to hear right now. But more, I want to get back.
Thank you, Brittany. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, the end.